All right, so we're here right now, everybody, with Garen Armstrong, Shamrock Roofing and Construction, as I said, Kansas City. I love the area. This is our second time to be able to sit down, brother. It's good to have you, here again on the show.
It's great to be here. I love what you're doing, and it's the first time was so instantaneous and spontaneous, and it was so genuine and unique, and to be able to do it again, I've been looking forward to being able to sit down when we had more time, and so I'm excited.
Good, man. Well, first of all, thank you for the hospitality. We got the whole crew here. We were able to get by yesterday and see some of your job sites and talk to some of your people. I want to dive into that. But first, I got to talk about you and the story behind Shamrock. Successful organization, 11 different states you're working in now, one heck of an operation across the board. You gave us a little bit of the tour this morning. But one of the main reasons I'm here is because of you. And I know you're a very humble man, and sometimes it's tough to talk about your own journey. Rewind a little bit for me, though, if it's possible. 2015, 2016, how does life begin to change for you?
So it has been an emotional roller coaster, really, this journey, and it's just been a whirlwind and a godsend. But at that time, it was really dismal and dark. My dad had been diagnosed with cancer, and so he was passing away. And then in 2016, after he passed away, he founded Shamrock, and it wasn't really a big roofing company at that time. It was more of a he did everything, decks, helped with plumbing, electrical. By trade, he was an electrical engineer, and he did this as a side business. And so after, as a side. So, but then after he retired, then this beefed up. But then after he got sick, it wound down. And then that's when my mom said, "Garen, what do you want to do with this?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to take it to the moon." And I took it. That's when I took it and started branding, redesign, and really started growing. And started by hiring 3 people, and then it was 5, and that's all I wanted, just a tiger team of 5 people. And we, just because it was controllable, it was manageable, I was still reeling from my dad's passing, and I enjoyed what I did. I enjoyed getting on roofs. I enjoyed dealing with the homeowners and property owners. I love the people, and that's what I enjoyed doing. I love being out in the field. I didn't want to get behind a desk and managing people. But then in 2018, after working a large loss fire claim, I was in there breathing the soot and smoke, and so I just got a sinus infection. No big deal, but the sinus infection went to my heart, and I got my heart went bad within 45 days, and so from the sinus infection, and so what happened is your heart naturally wants to heal itself, and so it is getting bigger and bigger and bigger until there's no elasticity left, and your heart can't pump, so your ejection fraction is none, and so you had no flow. So I was on a roof getting down on a Saturday, and my mom's been telling me go to the hospital, and I'm like, "That's fine, it'll go away." Well, I stumbled, or I almost fell, and I told the guys, I got to go to the hospital. So I go to the hospital, and I get lost on the way to the hospital. But I finally get there, and as soon as I get there, the code blew me right away. It pulled me in there, and there's lights flashing in front of my eyes. They're going and checking everything. They see that everything's clean and clear, but that my heart has been so swollen. So they had to. I was in a heart failure immediately. They had to keep me there and run tests on me. And then what they ultimately did was, I was the first person in Kansas City and a lot of technologies when it comes to heart health in the nation. What they did was they cut the apex of my heart off, and they sewed a pump on, and I lived off batteries. And so I had a blood flow to keep my organs alive while I waited on a heart transplant. And during that time, I'm O positive, and so it's O positives can give to A's and B's, but O's can only take O's. And so I had to wait 3 years on this heart pump with batteries that are hanging out of me that go bad, that you have to change, and you can't be around water. And it was very scary. You know, I got post-traumatic stress thinking about, you know, being in it, waking up, cords hanging out, you have batteries falling. You learn how to deal with it and live with it, and you just thank God you're alive. But you know, getting the new heart was a blessing. That journey was a mind trip like you can't believe, and going through that experience. And while you're on this, you know, pump, you know, there's a lot of things that can go bad. You know, pumps can clog. You know, you can have strokes. There's a lot. You know, they can get infections. And so, I've had 6 open heart surgeries in the last 5 years, and after I got that heart pump put in me, I was so sick. I went from being very strong and athletic, from 190 pounds to lost 50 pounds, and it was just bad. So rehab, back to life. At that time, the business Shamrock was touch and go, because what had happened was I was the leader and still am, but an organization absent a leader, we lost some guys, and then some guys stepped up. And the guys that stepped up, and from that point when I was sick and I came back, that organization, since I got sick and came back, has been what has been the impetus of the success that we've had now. Because they started this journey before I got sick, while I was sick, and they've been with me, locked arms, lockstep, every step of the way, through every surgery, and until now. And through every surgery, the team got stronger and stronger, because the first surgery, they're very unsure. They're unsure of themselves. They're unsure with a certainty. By the second surgery, they're a little more confident in themselves. They trust themselves a little more. By the third one, they're like, oh, it's just Garen, he's going to make it through again, And so by the time I had to have my heart transplant, they had it. And so it was able to go smooth through that time.
Take me back, if you could. You're going through years of living off this battery. Yes. You're relying on the blood transfusions, and that's not easy. So things can go wrong a lot of different places here. But then you get some kind of news, a phone call comes to you and says, there's a heart that's going to be available for you. What was that feeling like? How was that? Was it emotional? Was it scary? What went through that day?
So yeah, let me back you up to that point. So I was after I had the heart pump in, was working, and I was still working selling roofs and building roofs, and I threw some bundles of shingles in the back of my pickup, mm-hmm. and I tore the heart pump out of my heart, and my lung pleural sac that holds your lungs was filling up, and so you'll have 7 liters of blood in your body. I had lost 3.5 liters of blood that was in my pleural sac, and it was really hard to breathe because it was pushing my lung up. And so I'm in there. They had to go back in there, open me up through my ribs, thoracotomy, chest again, to sew this pump back on my heart. And by that time it was hard, because the second time stitching this thing on your heart, and in that time I got an infection in that blood in my heart, and so and then COVID happened, and then so that happened around 2020. I had to go in, the infection, they were just getting everything just drained off of there. Till finally, there was no hope. I'm waiting on a heart. It's COVID, and I'm in ICU. I'm just waiting. I'm like either waiting to die, I'm waiting to live, I'm waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting for, right? So, you know, after being in the hospital, I'm meeting other people that are in the hospital like me, waiting for an organ transplant, and you build relationships with these people and their family. You know, they have families and their kids, and they all have dreams and aspirations, and not being able to be there. But a lot of these people didn't make it out of ICU, and so to answer your question, when I'm laying there in ICU, about to die, don't know if am I going to get out of there. When they came in and woke me up, I remember like yesterday, they came in and they said, "We may have a heart for you. Do you want it?" And because I had an opportunity to ask questions, what kind of heart it is, and I'm like, "Did you guys review it? Did it look okay? I'm going to take it." And so it was just so emotional. And they said, we got a heart for you. And I knew right then, I was in God's hands. And it was like a warm fog over me. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared. I just wanted to see my kids and hug them and let them know. And then that was difficult because during COVID, but I was in God's hands, and so I went back to surgery. Let my mom know, I was concerned because after my dad died, I'm the patriarch of the family. So taking care of everybody's my role. And so I went back for surgery, and I remember just waking up and hearing this glorious sound. Is like drums in my ears. I'm like, this is amazing. It was my heartbeat, which I hadn't heard for 3 years because I didn't have a heartbeat. I didn't have a pulse. I didn't have a blood pump. I just had a blood flow. So when I woke up and I hear the heartbeat so loud, I knew I was going to be okay. I knew I was going to make it. And within 24 hours, the infection from my heart started healing so fast. And in fact, after 2 days, they had me back out of ICU and healing on the floor. And I was able to heal so fast after the heart transplant that I was out of the hospital in 1 week. And should I have gone home? Maybe not. It was really painful and bad. But I was in there. The doctors have been defeated. The nurses have been defeated. The ICU was full. They needed a shot in their arm. They knew me because I've been there for forever, And so me being able to get out of there in a week was really good for everybody. It was great for me. It was, and my family and the Shamrock family. And it was great for the hospital, the doctors, and the organization. They needed it. They needed a bright light in that time. And so it's just a God thing.
I've got this written down right here. Your dad, your heart, infection, COVID, multiple instances where it's ripping out. There's got to be a part of you, maybe there isn't, that thinks at some point about giving up and just saying the hell with it. Does it ever cross your mind? And if not, I'm interested to know what did keep you going year in, year out, because I hope my audience really listens to this, and because this is not a 1 year thing. It's not a 6 month thing. This is 2018 through COVID. You're still dealing with this. Your father's passed away. You've got a company that's growing, but also needs you at the same token. You've got so much going on, all right? What keeps Garen even motivated to move forward?
My children and my mom, and that is still today what keeps it going. My Shamrock family, but the will to live through all that is my children. My youngest daughter, I'm her sole dad. She doesn't have a mom, and she's not ready to be on her own. So, yeah.
There have been multiple suicides in the roofing industry that you're aware of.
Yeah.
You have a pulse on this industry. You speak at these events. You see the troubles that men have in this industry. What advice do you have from somebody who sat there on deathbeds? You've had to think about your kids. There are young men, there are older men in this industry that they're finding trouble just to find the will to get up tomorrow.
Right.
Somehow for years you found an ability to do that. You've had a why, but there's got to be something inside you that, something that clicked, that you said every morning. I'm hoping that what would you tell these men? Because there's somebody I no doubt that's listening to this at 6 a.m. in the morning, is sick and tired of it, Garen.
Yeah.
And they haven't had to deal with a heart, but man, their life just feels like the whole thing's coming down on them, brother.
That's there's so much to talk about in that. Mental health and now with men is a big deal, and it's really not going talked about. And the suicides in our industry specifically is a lot, and it's I'm glad you brought it up. And they're so ego driven, fueled on money and the hustle. And I think somewhere along the way, we lost sight of what really matters. And, I think, and so that strive, and the industry got tighter, with social media. So you're seeing everybody doing this, and you're seeing everyone post their fake book posts, and so they all see that, and it is hard. The Shamrock family is a family, but don't get me wrong. We have infighting. We have dealings. We have people not filling their orders out right, that have, all of these situations that people are stressing on about, where someone put a wrong color roof on. We have to go redo that. I mean, all the supply bills issue, all of these things that people have to deal with, that people want to sweep under the rug, and they don't really want to talk about it. And so I'm to your point, what can I do to say to help them stop is that, we're all going through it. The details are just different. I'm here to talk to you if you need to talk to somebody, because I've been through it. My advice would just be to talk to someone right now, because there is people out there that care about them, and sometimes you get so caught in the weeds you can't even see that people are out there to care about them, because you're worried about $1 million supply bill, or even $100,000 supply bill, a week, whatever. That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of stress. Employing 200 people plus another 350 subcontractors, and making sure that payroll's taken care of. And then you think about how many people those people affect. They have their families that depend on them. So based on your organization, you're impacting a whole lot of people. Not only that, but look at all the people, the suppliers and their families, and all the people that depend on them, and the people the manufacturers, people that depend on them. So the whole supply chain, it's very impactful. And so it's heavy. It's very heavy. And I think that people need to have, men in the roofing space need to have some place to talk to. Men in general need to have some place to talk to without an ego-filled environment. So.
You mentioned a minute ago what really matters as opposed to an ego-driven environment. When you look at this company, say 5 years from now, you could take 5 years ago, how it's grown and where it's going. What do you think really matters here? What will be the defining point? Is it how much money the company is worth? Is it, the number of people that you've been able to employ and their lives have gotten better? What do you think drives the success of someone like yourself, this company? Because from the outside, ego-driven, people look at what is the revenue? How many trucks do you got? How many jobs are you doing? How many people are here? How many offices do you have?
Right.
Okay, there's a scorecard there for somebody. I get it.
Right.
How will you define the success of this company, of you, 5 years, 10 years down the road?
It's encompassing all of that. It is a business, but and everybody says I'm in the people business. Mm-hmm. It's a common thing. But until they actually come in and they feel it and they feel the love and then I'm in the people business. And when you're there to grow the business, both in numbers and revenues, because it is a business, and all of that because it is a business, but it's how strong is that business and the strength. And if a business is based upon the people, then it's how strong are the people, how balanced are the people, how balanced their families are the people. That's to be able to provide this the solutions to the customers that we do. Yep. In a high stress environment.
High stress is right. When you look at this company right now, actually I'm going to go back to another question that I had it's burning kind of in me because I want to know this from you. Frankly, I want you to have it on camera for yourself. I think you mentioned your son, 16, right?
Yes.
How old's your daughter?
I have two. One's 13 and one's 18.
16, 13, 18.
Yes.
They've seen an immense amount over the last probably 7 years from their father that has just probably been something that's enough for a lifetime for most children. I hope I can ask you this because I'm going to get a little emotional, actually, and I hope you take this the right way.
Yeah.
God forbid something ever happened to you, all right? You've had so much, 6 open heart surgeries in 5 years. I'm writing down right here. What do you want a 16, a 13, and an 18-year-old to remember about their father? Is it success in Shamrock? Is it something else? If we just were to cut this clip to right now, because I think it speaks to who you are as a man, what would you want those kids to know about you? About their relationship with you, your relationship with them?
Work ethic, humility, and live for Christ. And that's what I want them to know. It's not about the money, it's not about the things, it's about what you can do for the betterment of all. And that's what I've learned. I've learned through all this. After almost dying, I'm just in extra innings. And so what I want from people, everybody, even kids that work here that grew up in the foster system, they don't have dads. I mean, I want to impact their life for the betterment of all, is what I want.
How much do you contribute that to part of the success here? Because we go around and we talk to roofing contractors, all right? I hear the word integrity a lot. There's call words that you hear everywhere, okay? When I walk around here, though, and I talked to your people yesterday, there seems to be a heart of gratitude and perhaps even giving. Do you feel that has contributed to the success here? Giving, in other words, truly giving, because I think there's giving and there's debt. I've never talked about this, but I believe this, that if you give something to somebody asking for something in return, you just want to put that person in debt to you. Right. Perhaps it's the selfish thing that you can do, the most selfish.
Right.
To give without expectation, without wanting anything in return. Now that's something special. Right. How much do you contribute that attitude that you just talked about for your kids, that you want them to have, to the success business here at Shamrock?
I think gratitude has been the number one thing that has led to our growth. the gratitude for being here. Everyone has, since inception of Shamrock, we've been giving back to the community, and we've always been givers. And just we give so much to a lot of different organizations. It's behind the scenes. A lot of it's not known. But when we started giving the cars away, we've been doing that. I've been doing that for 20 years. When I started bringing that into Shamrock, and all the people started give the cars away to veterans and first responders, or give cars away to mothers with kids that can't get back and forth to chemo treatments, and they get to feel that. It's just something that and you get to see what that does to that family. It makes such a huge impact. And so by ingraining that within our organization has been really impactful.
You talk about giving this stuff away. Whether it be tonight, we're going to be able to see an incredible event where you're helping some veterans out. I know you're excited about it. Your face
fun.
lights up.
Yeah.
Okay, and I want to talk about that. That's going to be incredible. Okay, and it's not the first time you've done it. We got a chance out there. We'll show some right now of this incredible piece of artwork that a veteran was. The story behind that's incredible.
Yeah.
And he's selling that work. But in the roofing community, there is a spectrum of people on the right. I'm going to call it that. And it tends to be, I don't want to categorize everybody here, and I want to be careful with my audience but I'm going to say there tends to be people that will look at others and say, that's not me. I would never be like that. That mom who's got a single child who needs a car, she put herself in a bad situation. The kid who doesn't have a father, well, he had a choice. He made that choice to go and be in prison. It's not my job to employ that person. You've got people here that are on their second chance with Shamrock.
Right.
I guess what I'm getting at is empathy is something I think that is lost to people. We are so privileged in this country that sometimes I think we forget to have empathy for one another, that we all are struggling with something. And we all just have a different vice and a different past and skeletons.
Right.
How much do you think about that when these things you do for other people, what they've been through in their life and their past and their history?
The empathy is definitely missing, and the self-righteousness is just beyond belief. And so it's hard to deal with in the community, and that's the self-righteousness, and they're looking down their nose at other people and telling there's only one right way to do something, or this, that, and the other. But the empathy in general, in this space, we're not a bunch of choir boys, so people need to stop acting like they are, and look at themselves. So, we all have room for improvement. We all have flaws and deficiencies in life, and I think that we just need to focus on ourselves on that. And so, I have a hard time just even getting on and engaging in the community anymore just because of that. And so, I've been around a long time, and so I see that from a bunch of the I want to say newer, but at this point, a lot of these people have been around for a long time too. So It's just
the business itself here, though. I have two-part question here for you. What has contributed, in your opinion, to the most success here at Shamrock? I'm talking about on a granular level, is the sales, the operations, the marketing. What do you think has allowed you to grow and scale? Because so many roofing contractors say they want to be at multiple states, 200 plus people, all this stuff, but they never do it. Sometimes I think, do you really want that? I mean, do you really?
You got to be careful what you wish for. I mean, this has been a dream come true, but you got to be careful what you wish for. When you're in 11 states, you're in 11 different, states. Laws are different. Attorneys are different. You're dealing with supply issues are different. There's so much that's different. just in states that are 1 state away, the states are different. You know, Iowa has the state fair. Omaha has this World Series, College World Series. You know, Texas. They all have their separate things, and it's exciting, right? And so you have to learn that from even a marketing perspective. How people take marketing is different than other areas. And Texas is different than Des Moines. So, but to what I would attribute it to would be, you know, obviously there's soft skills, and you could talk about soft skills, but then there's, you know, the meat and potatoes of that. And I think living your brand and executing on that, which is, yes, you're marketing that, yes, but you're walking the talk, and you're building what you're doing. So it's, you know, with the production that's been able to help. I mean, at this point, we can build so many roofs. This, like, we could bring on more sales because we can, you know, build some more roofs. So, you know, I'm really proud of my production team, and at the same time, the marketing and building around that has been good. But that's just been a story of who we are that's been out in the community, and it's just been omnipresent. And so that story and the growth of Shamrock, the story and the revitalization of Garen and the bringing back to life, you know, God has given me a new heart in more ways than one. And it shows in my life, it shows in the business, and I'm just so grateful.
Yeah. Final question here for you. I'm asking you not to be humble.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to know this.
Yeah.
What's it going to look like? Because here's my thing, man. I think that you've got a heart for all pun intended there, for people.
Right.
But I also believe there's a real killer inside of you, man. You don't get to be at this level without being a little bit of, you got something in you that says there's a competitor, right?
No question. I am humble. I am all that, but I will light somebody up in a New York second if they cross me or get you know, in the path. My business acumen would be the number one thing that got me here, to be honest. And right now we're going to be at $40-50 million this year, and I am continuing to grow via greenfield, and we're now starting to grow via acquisition. So I'm looking to be at $300 million in 3 years, and so that's where we're going to be at.
I love it.
And
So that's what I want to ask you about. That's my final question. There's a real killer inside of you that people, because we talk about, you know, the heart and all that, but day in, day out, you're in here, you're grinding, this company is grinding. I want to know this. What do you want the people in this, the final thing of this community, to know about the people here? Because it ain't going anywhere. And for the community and the industry, it ain't going anywhere. What's it going to be to Kansas City? What's it going to be to the Midwest? What's it going to be to this industry as 3 to 5 years from now?
3 to 5 years from now, Shamrock will be not only one of the largest in the Midwest, but it'll be one of the largest in the nation. Hands down. For the people, it's generational. I have people now that could retire that don't want to retire because they love coming into the office. I've got kids that work for, you know, the parents that want to come work for here. It's generational. That's what it means for me. Even if, you know, when we're growing to 300 million, it's because I've grown and bootstrapped all this myself. I haven't brought out a partner in yet. I got partners knocking on my door wanting to be in. You know, the PE, the space is red hot, white hot. It's so hot. And so, you know, now we start acquiring. So 300 is easy. We're at 100 million organically. That's 200 million through acquisition. That's a valuation, enterprise value of $1.5 billion company. You're a unicorn. And the people in this space, they love it. We have a bunch. Yes, we have everybody from our CFOs to our controllers, their degrees, but you have a lot of people with PhDs, poor, hungry, and driven who are in this, who love the fact that they get to be a part of a unicorn, to be a part of a $1.5 billion company that's growing to that point.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, 3 to 5 years, don't let it, I want to come back here when you've got that, okay?
Yeah.
And then, steak dinners and everything like that.
Yeah,
But I want to say, man, the first time I sat down with you, you still had the stitches. I remember you still had it all underneath your shirt from the surgery.
Yeah.
We were at IRE a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And I had heard you on stage, but I didn't know anything really. And we only had a couple of minutes. It's been awesome to get to know you, your team. Thank you for all the hospitality. We're going to put together great content and stuff, but it's truly special to be able to come out and see stories like yours and to be able to bring them to light, I know, for us and our team. So thank you.